Hello, I hope this video finds you well. We are going to look at the DP Computer Science course that I'm going to be teaching, and this is a course overview for those of you that are with me for the 2020 to 2022. So the students in my class are writing the exam in May of 2022. The first thing that always comes up is, am I prepared to take this course? So this slide here says, are you prepared? So a couple things. The first thing to note is that there's no programming experience is necessary, specifically if you're taking SL. It's often a point of concern if someone comes in with no programming experience. A little bit of programming experience does help and puts you in a really good spot, but if you're new to programming or feel behind others, don't be discouraged. Just important to really seek out some early support and just be comfortable with that and think about the long game in terms of your growth and development. If you've taken MYP Design, which anyone in our school has, you have a really good grounding for the internal assessment in certain topics, specifically in the topic 1, which is system fundamentals. It's important to acknowledge that this course is more than just learning to code. This course is about understanding the technological landscape that we live in and engage with regularly. It's so important that you collaborate with your peers, actively and proactively ask questions, and play with the ideas. If you do that, you are prepared for this course, and you will find success not just in this course, but beyond. And then finally, I really do believe that engaging in the world of technology is to become a lifelong learner. So as much as, I'm working with you for these next 2 years to learn, DP Computer Science, I'm really hoping to help you develop skills that are going to transcend this course and really prepare you for life beyond this course. So what does the course look like? In terms of the IB, there are a number of standardized assessments that everyone does. If you're in the standard level course, you have a paper 1, paper 2, and an internal assessment. If you're in the higher level, you have a paper 1, paper 2, which are the same as in the standard level, just some added topics that you have to be responsible for, and then there's a paper 3. And again, we have an internal assessment as well. And now I'm going to talk about each of those so you kind of understand what each one involves. So paper 1 is broken up into 2 parts, part A and part B. Part A are short response questions, where part B are longer response questions. There's no actual programming in paper 1. Paper 1 does a lot of algorithmic thinking. You have to be able to interpret flowcharts, trace tables, things like that. And the topics that SL and HL are both responsible for are these first 4. So your system fundamentals, computer organizations, networks, and computational thinking, problem solving, and programming. So a lot of times students enter this course and they think specifically around topic 4, which is an area that I love, but this course does explore these other areas. That's really important if you end up in the field of computer science or any field that uses computer science. If you're in the HL section, we have these 3 additional topics, abstract data structures, resource management, and control. Regardless, if you're in my course in the HL or SL, because this is a split class, meaning we have some of you in HL and some of you in SL, I'm going to be teaching you guys a little bit about abstract data structures, resource management, and controls, because it just makes sense. We're able to do that, and it's going to help support those ideas that you're responsible for in your exam and allow you to create a better internal assessment and just leave this course better prepared. Paper 2, it's options, so there's 4 options and only 1 is completed. So when you get paper 2 on the exam, you have these 4 options and you're going to pick one of them. We will start by exploring all of these areas and then dive deeply into one later as we approach the course. Oh, a little spelling mistake there, that's okay. Again, it's important that we kind of start off by kind of sampling each of these and understanding what they are and what they look like. And then as we progress in the course, we're going to kind of talk as a group and decide which one do we really want to kind of dig into and prepare specifically for the exam. For example, if you decide to do a web-based project for your IA, you're going to be doing a lot of option C, but you might produce your IA using Java. Either case, you're going to end up using some databases because a good internal assessment, which I'll talk about shortly, involves data, and you have to have data that you can access and use. Paper 3, which is only HL, it's essentially a case study that is released prior to the exam. So you have this case study that you have to read through in advance and you discuss, and there's a vocabulary list. So you have to be comfortable with some terminology, and what the students do is they read, discuss, and analyze the case study prior to the exam, and they have to be prepared to answer questions related to the case study in paper 3. Often the first couple questions are definitions and just showing that you've read it, and as you get into a couple of the later questions, it's really showing that you've kind of thought about this topic and done some of your own additional reading. And students are expected to understand and use case study vocabulary in their responses. So of course, we're going to talk about this more later. When we get here and you think about responding to this exam or this paper, you want to be using the vocabulary that you've been developing and also showing that you've done a little independent research and learning. This link will take you to the paper 3 for May 2021, and that was about the implementation of blockchain in a small community. Again, those of you writing in May of 2022, it will be a different paper. So this is actually a really great part of the course. There's lots of great things, but it's one of my favorite. We spend a lot of time doing this. It's the internal assessment. So the internal assessment is essentially you have to create a piece of software for a client. You have to go out and find someone that needs some sort of some software developed, and you have to go through the entire design process and produce that software. The internal assessment is similar to the projects you have completed in the MYP course. You're ready for this. When I say you're ready for this, I think about it in terms of the inquiry analyzing, the developing the ideas, the creating the solution, and then the evaluating. We don't use the same criterion in this, but it's essentially very heavily influenced by the MYP design cycle. This course is actually developed with the MYP design cycle, and this internal assessment is essentially what we've been doing the last couple years in MYP design. There's no software requirements. You need to decide what software to use. So you have to pick what suits your clients and user needs. You want to consult with your peers and do your own thing. We'll be doing a lot of little examples, and we'll talk a lot about the internal assessment in this course and talking about why this little project we're doing prepares you for that. So you'll have a lot of code examples, but it's really important you do your own thing. Don't just take a cookie cutter program that we've done in the course and try and repurpose it. You're not going to get as much out of this experience, and you probably won't do as well. And really, it's important, be prepared to learn new things. You might find that you have to go and learn about something that we might not have explored. So in previous years, we haven't done Firebase. Some of you in this course I know have Firebase experience, and we're going to be doing some in this course. But students in the past went and taught themselves how to use Firebase so they could set up a database and a login system. There's 5 assessed sections, and it's really important you review the rubric. And finally, the examiner needs to see that you went through the process. Oh, it's here hiding my actual slide. It's really important to understand the IA is more than the program. You can create a beautiful program, but if you haven't gone through the process, you won't do very well. And we can see here on the side the different criteria that are evaluated. And of course, as we get into this, we'll go into this in more detail, each of these. At our school, there is an option of doing the extended essay in DP Computer Science. So when you have your extended essay conversation, this will be one of the courses. And so I thought I'd take a moment and just talk about it. This is the overview of the extended essay for computer science provided from the IBO. I'll let you kind of take a read of this, or why don't I just read it? An extended essay in computer science provides students with an opportunity to investigate a particular aspect of computing and its implications for society and the world. I put a little note here. I think that's a little bit misleading because it's really important if you choose to do your extended essay in computer science that you are not focusing on a social issue. The extended essay in computer science is not about social impact. And then it says, within this context, they can research the latest development and future possibilities in a rapidly changing subject that is continually breaking new barriers. There are many possible areas to explore, each with a wealth of topics, advances in hardware and software development, comparison of the efficiency of algorithms designed to speed up data transmission or to encrypt data, network systems, computer control systems, and so on. So really exciting extended essay to do. There's lots there. But you really need to go into this eyes open. That is a challenging extended essay to do. A couple, just ideas is the extended essay is an opportunity to explore a technical component of computer science, touching on social impacts in the conclusion is great, but it is not a paper on the social impacts of technology. I can't stress this enough. Computer science is a group for experimental science, and it must include an experiment which helps explore the research question. So that could be using data, running computer models, things like that. Research must be recent given the rapid development in the field. So if you're looking at some research, you better be picking research that's relatively recent. If you have a paper that's from the early 80s or something, you better have a reason why that's still valid. It's really important. You do not need to write software. Sometimes students get really in their head that they're going to write their own modeling software. You don't need to do that. You just need to use it. If you decide to do the extended essay with computer science, be prepared to use a virtual machine to manage resource usage if running models. Because if you're running some sort of model on your computer, you need to control the resources that your computer is using. You cannot use your internal assessment for your extended essay. So sometimes students will say, well, I'll do this internal assessment and that will translate into my extended essay. You definitely can't do that. And finally, this is a challenging topic, and if you're interested, please ensure you set a meeting with me in advance. Come talk to me. It's a really fun topic, but it can be challenging, and so really thinking about it in advance is important. So if we think about our research questions, you can take a look at this. This is, again, right from the IBO, but you can see the difference where, I'll just read this one here. You might talk about advances in processing power that question the need for complicated sorting algorithms versus the broad topic, the future of sorting algorithms. So again, when you actually come up with your research question, which this isn't the place to get into that, you want a focused question. But it is important to note that when you're developing your research question for whether it's, DP computer science or another subject, starting with a broad topic or area of interest is a nice place to start, and then narrowing your focus as you do some research. So a couple resources that we'll use in the course, but I have to say there's so many out there, I can't list them all. The first thing is the DP Computer Subject Guide. Please, if you're taking any IB course, please look at the subject guide. There is something about being strategic when you approach a standardized exam course. And that goes for DP Computer Science or DP Math or any of those that you take. This is the DP Computer Science Pseudocode Guide. So this is a bit of not a really long document, but it goes over some common conventions that we need to know and some things that you just need to memorize. And it's not provided on the exam. But when you're preparing, practicing, consult it regularly. This is the DP Computer Science Exam Guide. You want to study with it, so you're prepared to use it on the exam. I used to teach math. I used to teach AP Calculus for a while. In any math course, actually, I would always say to the students, when you're actually working, always have your formula sheet next to you right through the course. Because if you familiarize yourself with that formula sheet, when you actually get into the exam, you're not looking for things. This is a phenomenal site, IB Computer Science Hub. It's an amazing site, great presentations linked to the syllabus outcomes. So we'll use some of these in our course, but also when you're preparing for the exam, it's a great place of looking for a quick summary of each topic. This is a flowchart logic diagram software that I use in the course. It's really nice because you can just link it to your Google Doc and you can put it in there. This would be really useful when you're producing some work for me as well as preparing for your IA. Anyone that knows me knows that I love CodingBat. It's a great algorithm, and it's great for algorithm and language development. And we will be using this in our course as well. Again, if you are someone that knows me and has worked with me, using my MYP design sites are great. Because they're used for my year 9 and 10 design coding option, but they have a lot of great resources that are developed with this course in mind. And the last thing is, I really want you to use old questions and marking guides. This is partly strategic. We are taking a standardized exam course, and knowing the types of questions you're going to get in advance and understanding how they are marked will allow you to approach the course in a very strategic way. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. If you are in my class, you'll see the next thing that I want you to do is there's a discussion group in our in our online class environment, and I'd like you to post a couple questions that might come up for the others to see and maybe respond to, and we'll use that when we see each other in person next time. And with that, have a great day, and please post any questions on this channel as well. Take care.